Okay, so we're back with the Let's Create, and just to remind you, what I'm doing here is I'm recreating the very first project that I ever made in Unreal. I don't have a video available right now, but if you just go back to the very first... Oh, let me sort my mic out. If you go back to the very first video in this series, I go through that there. In the last video, we were working on getting this person to be sucked out into space when we trigger it, which we've got that working, which is giving us an error. Access none. Set simulate physics. Well, it has set simulate physics, so that's odd. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is we're going to, well, in this video, is we're going to create the room that we start in, just from these same assets. I'm going to get rid of that nav mesh because it's annoying. So I'm just going to start building out the room. Select that and that. I'm going to group those. So that I've got my groups, regroup. So I've got like a basic block shape that I can use for my room. It's going to be here. Obviously, what we're going to need to do is get rid of this. So let's ungroup. If I wait a second, let me just. So yeah, we're going to want to get rid of this one for the door, but not for the rest of the room. So I'm going to place that there, and then copy a couple of times. Maybe we'll find that that room is just a bit too big. That looks okay for a starting area. Don't have any ends or anything yet, so we can do that later. And then we need to click on this middle one. Right click, go to groups, ungroup. I want to delete this wall. Delete. Oh, that was the wrong wall, I believe. If I just move this slightly. Delete. Okay. Hit play, just have a look. And this can be our starting area. You'll see we've got problems here that we can see through, so we just need to go and fix that. I think the best thing to do is just to grab this piece and move it in. There's going to be some overlapping meshes, but it should be fine. Come back and fix that later if we need to. Bring that in a little bit as well. The player's going to look at that. Okay, so obviously when we put the side of the walls on, we won't be able to see the rest of it, so that'll be fine. Okay. It's giving me a problem with the star sphere, so if I just click on that, it's saying it needs to be movable, but I don't think I can set that to be movable. Not here, I can't, so. I think I'm going to add a different sky box in later anyway, so we'll just leave that for now. Okay, so we've created a starting room, and then what we need to do is we need to copy this starting room. So we want all of the assets here, because we're going to use that. We're going to so hold down Alt and Shift together, and then we can move that down. And we're going to use that in the same way for the But we're going to use that for the getting to the escape pod. Line that up with the door. Like that. Okay, and then we'll copy that out. Pop it there, so you actually like move down a corridor. It needs to be an airlock for it to work properly. Okay, so I think it's just a case of, at this point, just going through and finishing off the map. Okay, now we just need to finish off these bits, these walls, plug in the end bits. So if I just go inside a second, we'll put another door there, but it'll be closed. And then at this end bit here, maybe we want to put in these ginormous doors. Let's just go to unlit for a second, just so we can see what we're doing. Turn it around 180. Shrink it down a little bit. Put it down a bit more. Turn off the snap so we can scale it exactly to the size we want. Move it into position. Scale it up a little bit more. Okay, that's good. And then we want to grab that, and we want to get over here. And we want to spin it around. Control Z, put the snap back on. Spin it around 180. There we go. Pop that in there. But this time we want the door to be closed. Okay, this is starting to come together. Need to put side walls on these. So we'll just grab wall piece, rotate it 90, that right into place. Copy it. Grab those two pieces. Do them again. Rotate them. Oh, that doesn't look to have rotated the whole way. It's better. Alright, and we'll put some stuff in here later to sort of we'll look at that flickering on the ground. That is because we're overlapping some meshes. Not ideal. So if we go in there, can we see that happening from here? We will be able to, I would have thought. We can't because it's dark. If I put a light in there, just so I can see. Turn that up to 50. Go back to lit mode. Yeah, okay, so we don't want that, so we're going to have to look at this again. So go to unlit mode. Let's have a look how we can do this. So that, that and that and that. Okay, so the problem is here, see, we've got these gaps here, but we should have a piece to fill those in. Rather do that than have this awful shaking, the meshes overlapping each other. Move that over here as well. And then we've got these spaces here, but luckily we've got like these pillars that we can use as ways of filling in those gaps. So I'll just rotate that 180. Pop that into place. Just select both and move them both back a little. Let's go and have a look at that now. Very good. Looks great. Like I said, we'll put some stuff in there so it looks a little bit more like a room. In a bit, we're just trying to get all this enclosed and looking good. So we'll grab this right at the end. We'll hold down Alt to copy it and Shift, and then we can move along with it. Pop this bulkhead, I'm going to call it, down at the end, and then I'm going to rotate it 180. So if we hit play, we are now starting to get this enclosed space. We are getting light coming through from the bottom because we have to go in and do some settings with the light maps to try and get rid of some of that bleeding, but we're not probably going to get rid of all of that. And then once we've got the basic place, off you go, basic play space sorted, we can then start. So we just need to finish off this room. Do it yet? We have the same problem here with the flickering. So what we're going to do is we're going to just delete all this. We'll just grab that room again and make it out of those pieces. So we'll just grab all this, delete, get rid of them horrible flickering meshes that are overlapping. Here, select that, select that. In fact, no, that's fine, we'll do that. We also want to select these. And these. And we want to grab, hold down Alt and Shift, drag that into place, and now we're going to group this one. So group, regroup. So now that's all one piece. So if we want to play around with that later, we can. I'm going to copy that again. Obviously, it doesn't matter that they're poking out the top because we're not going to see that. And what's going to happen is, if you didn't see the original video, we're going to walk down this corridor. There's going to be alarms going off, people running around. I mean, we're going to have animals running around, which is a little bit of a surprise for later. And then we come down here, we go into this airlock, and then we're shot out into space in an escape pod while we approach a planet. We then switch from our level model, which is an interior, to an exterior of a spaceship. So as we shoot out, we'll do that switch. And then you look back, the ship explodes, and then something happens as you're going into the planet, as you're burning up, going into the planet. Okay, so that's what's going to happen here. There's going to be an escape pod here. Right, so let's just check the time, because these videos can only be 15 minutes. Right, so that's bang on 15 minutes. So we'll call it a day here, and then we'll get on with making a destructible mesh, I think, for the wall piece that we want to break. Okay, see you in the next one.